Hi, Glen. There's been a lot of death recently. Christopher Hitchens, your former stepson, Tattoo Skin 72's mom. That's just in the online community. Closer to home, there have been a couple of deaths in my community that were untimely, to say the least. And it's not a subject that everybody wants to talk about. It wasn't a subject that I used to want to talk about at all. If it came up in a conversation, I could join the conversation, but I wasn't going to bring it up. Now, it's a little different, because I've experienced that close personal death. When my fiance passed away from AML, leukemia, that is 2 years ago this April. And as an atheist, the most difficult part of his death was finally accepting, that there is no afterlife, that it was final, that there was no hope or chance of ever seeing him in another life. That took a really long time to accept. And perhaps there's still a part of me, a small little part. I don't think in my brain so much, I think it's more in my heart. There's still that small part. He was a musician, played the saxophone, keyboards, harmonica, drums, you name it, he could just about play it, even a little guitar and bass. And there are certain songs that he was known for. When he played in bands, they were, like his songs. And even now, I can hear one of those songs, and I still get a twinge. It brings it back. And it's difficult. It really is difficult. Time does not heal all wounds. I think time puts a scab over that wound. And it's like if you've had a cut or an abrasion on your elbow or your knee or your finger, and it can be healing, and then you bend it just the right way and it gets a little crack in it. And it's that same way with that loss. There's a scab over that wound, and then something like a song, or their favorite food, or finding some personal belonging tucked away in a corner that you had forgotten was even there. It tends to open that wound up a little bit. And as time goes on, that scar gets a little tougher, and it might not cause the ugly cries that it did in the first bit of time. One of the things I wanted to talk about from your video was people saying the platitudes and the condolences that people will often pay, and throwing out that, well, he or she's in a better place. And to me, I don't care how diehard Christian you are, that's not ever anything that I would have said to someone, not even when I considered myself to be a Christian. Because when you have such a loss, whether it's a partner or a child, your parent, you want that person with you. You want to be a part of their life. You want them to be a part of your life. And for anyone to say, no matter how well-meaning they are, to say, they're in a better place, what better place could there possibly be than being right there with you? So I've just never cared for that phrase at all. And I had people who were well aware that I was an atheist, and that Ross was an atheist, who told me after he died that he was in God's hands now, or that God must have needed another angel, or God needed a sax player in his band, or yes, that he was in a better place. And it was difficult, even in the grief, it was difficult to bite my tongue. And I don't know that, given the same circumstance today, that I would bite my tongue. A lot of things have changed in me over the last 6 months or so. Actually, the last 8, 9 months. And I'm a little more militant, if you will. And I wouldn't let that just slide by. So I probably would have to say something. And it offends me when people who know that other people are atheists will say that, and I'm seeing that on a friend's Facebook page right now. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these people don't realize that he's an atheist. But it offends me for him when people are saying that your mom's in a better place, or that they're praying for you. I would totally just lost my train of thought here. If someone is suffering, if someone's in pain, if they've had a lengthy illness, I find it acceptable for myself if someone were to tell me, at least he's not suffering any longer. And that's very true, and you can take that little bit of comfort from that. But it's still a very painful experience, no matter, I remember thinking, because at the end of Ross's life, I saw him just the day before he died, and he was very, very weak, and he had great difficulty even getting out of a chair. And even after he passed away, I thought I wouldn't care if he had to live in a chair the rest of his life. I would rather that he was still here with me. And that's selfish. But that's what we are. We're humans, and we're selfish. When someone dies, as Kathy's son did, suddenly, from a health issue, and it shouldn't have happened. We experienced that in my family, with a close family friend. He was 25, and the steroids that he had to take over all the years from the asthma had weakened his heart, and he went to bed one night and had a heart attack and just didn't wake up in the morning. And that's really a tough one. That one, I really think there's nothing you can say other than, I'm so sorry. And I know it makes everybody feel good to say, I'm here for you, call me if you need, what can I do for you? And those are really empty, because the person who's mourning probably is not going to take you up on that offer and say, my house is trashed, could you just come vacuum the living room? They're probably not going to do that. So be there for that person. If you go to their home to offer your condolences, and you see there's a pile of dishes, just tell them, hey, I'm going to do these dishes for you. Do you need your trash taken out? Can I run a couple loads of laundry for you? Let me go to the grocery store for you. Especially if there are children in the family. But just be there for them. But also honor their need to be alone. Death is not an easy subject. It certainly isn't. But it is one that we do need to talk about, and I think it's especially important as atheists that we make people aware of what our own death plans are. My family is well aware that when my time comes, if there is one hint of religion in any kind of service, which I would prefer there not be a service, but you know how humans are, we're selfish and tend to do things like that anyhow. But if there's one hint of religion, that if there is an afterlife, I'm coming back to haunt their asses. I just can't have that. And part of the way that I'm trying to make it easier for them is that my humanist club, December tends to be our life month, our death and life month. And last year, we put together booklets, and they're end of life, or notebooks rather, they're end of life notebooks. And we have the 5 wishes paperwork in there. There was a lot of interesting reading concerning properties and valuables, and also there was a really nice memorial or funeral planning guidelines where you could put your personal preferences, whether it's readings or songs and music you want to have. And I've been procrastinating because, after all, it is about death. And so I have my notebook sitting here on the bookcase beside me, and I've filled out some of the things. And every once in a while, a song will strike me, and I'll think, you know, that song was really important in my life, so I need to write that down in my list. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I forget about it till the next time I hear it. But at least it's there, and it's a start. And I really encourage everyone to do such a thing. And it's difficult. It is really hard. I have aging parents. My dad is 74, and my mom is 68. Neither of them are in the best of health, and it would be an absolute clusterfuck if either one of them died right now, because who knows where all their shit is? Who knows what's going on with their finances and all of those things? And for years my mother has said, oh, we need to put your name on the property here, and we need to put your name on the bank account, we need to do this, we need to do that. She's been saying that for the 16 years that I've lived back here in my hometown, and it hasn't happened yet. And I actually do have paperwork for them. The living will and that kind of thing. I have that paperwork for them, but it's just a matter of going and sitting down with them. The only thing that I know for sure is that they both want to be cremated, and my mom wants to be scattered to the wind. My dad said he doesn't give a rat's ass what we do with his ashes. Flush them down the toilet, he doesn't care. And so we've joked about it before, that when one of them dies, I'm going to call the crematorium and then ask them if they have a 2-for-1 deal, and promise them we'll bring the next one when their time comes. So, anyhow, that's my 2 cents worth concerning your video, and thanks everybody for listening. I know it's kind of a long one, but I appreciate you listening. So, take care.